Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Navigating City Contracting Opportunities with Councilmember Current Price. We'll be getting started shortly, but just wanted to let everybody know that we'll be managing the Q&A through the Q&A function on Zoom. And if you're having any technical difficulties, please make sure to reach out to Mildred if you're having trouble joining or any other tech difficulties. So we'll be getting started shortly in about a minute. Thank you. Thank you everyone for joining us to Navigating City Contracting Opportunities with Councilmember Current Price. My name is Wendy. We'll be managing all the questions through the Zoom Q&A function, so please submit your questions through there. We also received some questions ahead of time via email, and those have already been answered, but we'll be touching on them briefly throughout the presentation. So thank you everyone for joining us. I'd like to present Ingrid Merriweather, President and CEO of Merriweather and Williams. Ingrid?
Great, thank you, Wendy, and thanks to the team for coordinating another event, and welcome everyone. It's a pleasure to have you here at our Council District 9 virtual outreach workshop. We hope to make this time beneficial for you. This is all in an effort to keep you informed and aware of opportunities as well as resources that the City of LA is making available to you in terms of accessing contract opportunities with the city, particularly in the construction arena. So as I was introduced, my name is Ingrid Merriweather. I'm the President and CEO of Merriweather and Williams, and we administer the Contractor Development and Bonding Program and have done so for about the last 14 years now. And really the objective of this program is to really remove the barriers that have historically impeded small, minority, veteran, women-owned contractors from really fully participating in city construction opportunities. So the City of LA has made an investment, and I'm, when I say investment, I mean it's put its money where its mouth is in terms of addressing kind of the systemic barriers like bonding, access to capital, other technical assistance areas that make it more difficult for smaller contractors to successfully participate and build capacity by way of performing contract work with the City of LA. We've done about $240 million in bonding through the program, and about over $100 million in contracts have been awarded to contractors participating in the city's program. And one of the statistics we are most proud of, in 14 years, we've only had one contractor fail to fully complete their contract. And that's really a testimony to the fact that small contractors are really quite capable to successfully compete and perform city contracts when the barriers are removed. And the city has witnessed that in making that type of investment and enabling more contractors to participate, they get a larger pool of contractors competing for their work. And as we know, more competition lowers cost. And the city has actually benefited in terms of lowered contracting costs because more small contractors are able to successfully compete and perform on city contracts. So it's kind of a win-win-win all the way around. And especially as we're happily coming out of this COVID environment, and we've all been a little bit impacted by that in terms of our businesses, a resource like this is even more important to help the small contractor community have some stability and some opportunity for growth. So I am actually very excited because today's workshop is attached to one of my favorite council members, Council Member Curran Price, who I almost don't have to read this bio because I think I've known Council Member Price for about 2 decades now. And what I can say is that he walks the talk. You know, a lot of times elected officials know what's politically correct in terms of advocating or talking about the importance of small business, but there's only a handful who actually are active and who look to put programs like this particular one in place so that their words have action behind them and change the outcomes. And Councilmember Price is absolutely one of those people, not just at the city level, but even when he was in the state legislature, he has been a consistent, active activist for small businesses. So we want to welcome you to our outreach workshop. Just a little bit of background about Councilmember Price. As I said, he's fought for the rights and opportunities of small and minority businesses, continues to show that commitment in words and, more important, in action. And since taking office, he helped usher in $4 billion in private investment with historic projects like the Los Angeles Football Club soccer stadium, the Lucas Museum of Narrative Art, and renovation of the LA Memorial Coliseum. Councilmember Price has insisted that all major projects have enforceable community benefit agreements. So this is where the walking the talk comes into play because he uses his leverage as an elected representative for you to make sure that large developers and these large projects have community benefits that benefit us in terms of small contract opportunities and work opportunities. On the LA City Council, he chairs the Economic Development and Jobs Committee. So he's really aligning his effort as an elected official with a committee that has impact in that arena and is the vice chair of the Immigrant Affairs, Civil Rights, and Equity Committee. So we're seeing a pattern here that Councilmember Price values inclusion, diversity, opportunity, and addressing institutional barriers. And then he's also a member of the Budget and Finance Committee. Of course, we know that's where the money comes from to actually invest in these types of programs. He received his political science degree from Stanford, his JD from University of Santa Clara. So he's a well-schooled council member. And we thank him for all of his support of the small business community and in particular of our program, which is designed to create more access to opportunity. So with that, I'd like to ask you all to join me in welcoming Councilmember Curran D. Price Jr.
Well, thank you, Ingrid. I certainly appreciate the introduction. It's really an honor and pleasure to join you and to welcome you to today's City of LA Virtual Outreach Workshop, explaining the city's contractor development and bonding program. You know, Meriwether and Williams Insurance Services has really been a pioneer in the space. And I'm just so grateful for the unique role you have played in providing information, providing access, and providing resources to individuals that want to do business in the city of LA. And so we just appreciate your ongoing efforts and that of your team making sure that our businesses, our local businesses, our small businesses, our minority businesses, women-owned businesses, disadvantaged businesses, so that we are all in the room and at the table. You know, one thing I know about LA, and that's that no matter how difficult times are, how challenging times are, we keep moving forward. We're in the midst of a life-defining economic recovery, as evidenced by resources that are coming from Washington, D.C. And the state of California. But nothing is going to stop us. Nothing's going to stop, I think, the positive progressive spirit that we have and that you have as business owners and business operators. We have to continue to work through this crisis to make sure that we can meet our needs. So with that in mind, I just encourage everyone to listen to the presentations about the city's contractor development and bonding program and the services, the benefits, and the opportunities that it provides. You know, as chair of the Economic Development and Jobs Committee, I frequently lament at the paucity of local businesses, local small businesses that get in on city contracts. We just got to do better. And so programs like this hopefully take away some of the mystique and also provide access and resources so that individuals can be a part of the contracting efforts that are going on with the city. This program is designed to expand your capacity as contractors and to encourage you to participate in the wide variety of construction projects going on around the city, many of which you'll hear about. As Ingrid mentioned, I fought hard to get this type of program implemented for businesses like you for a long time. As you know, working with public agencies is challenging, but the program here is to help contractors break through those barriers. And that's the kind of hand holding you want to have, especially at this time. The City of LA, through the Department of Public Works and its proprietary departments, the airports, DWP, and the port, are in the midst of major multi-billion-dollar construction programs. I mean, billion-dollar programs that are going to be going on for several years. A lot of activity, of course, is leading up to the Olympics, but certainly beyond that as well. In my district alone, we have almost $120 million in construction projects on the books, on the boards. In addition, we're spearheading a new Slauson Connect Community Hub project on Slauson between Budlong and Normandy. And we've already identified $26 million to create an innovative and interactive multi-purpose facility that community members and businesses are going to be able to benefit from. And we hope to have this project completed by December in 2022. All of this, in addition to President Biden's $2.5 trillion infrastructure proposal, which includes $600 billion in transportation infrastructure alone for roads and bridges, ports and airports, means that there's going to be dollars flowing here in Southern California, dollars flowing here in Los Angeles. And you need to get in line and get your piece of the pie. Meriwether and Williams can make sure that you're equipped to do that. Now's the time to get involved. Now's the time to grow your business. And I'm hopeful that today's workshop will help you maximize your potential because we're counting on you to play a critical role in our economic comeback. So again, I just want to thank the team at Meriwether and Williams, the city family that's participating on board, our other consultants who are here and who are determined to assist you in playing a bigger role in our economic recovery. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity, and we think we should be able to take advantage of it. Others will. And so I invite you to take down the numbers, do the follow-up, put individuals on speed dial, be a pest, be persistent. And if you're a small business, you already know about those buzzwords and those requirements. But I hope you take them seriously and know that our office is always available to assist you. Doesn't matter where you live, excuse me, doesn't matter where you live. I will be your counsel person if you're serious about doing business with the city of Los Angeles. We want to make sure that you understand the path and that you can go down that path in a profitable way. We think there's nothing wrong with making profit. You know, you can do well and you can do good. And we want to make sure that we are here to help you do both. And so Ingrid, again, thank you for the opportunity to join you. And I look forward to hearing the other speakers and the questions that our business community may have so that we can make sure they are well equipped to succeed. And we want them to be successful. Thank you. Have a successful webinar.
Thank you, Councilmember Price, again, and thank you for just your undying commitment. We know it sometimes takes a long time to get things in place that need to be there, and you've just been stalwart at it. So thank you for all that you do and all that we know you will continue to do in the future.
Thank you.
I think we're going to move forward in actually presenting. Oh, go ahead. Let's see. Wendy, is this for me to get started, or you?
Yes, please. No.
Okay. All right. Well, so we've talked a little bit about what the overarching objective is of the contractor development and bonding program. And so we want to go into a little bit of detail for you, but I want to underscore some of the comments that Councilmember Price made about the wealth of opportunities that are coming our way. You know, the Olympics is out there a ways, but in the immediate time frame, the city itself has a number of development projects. He talked to you about the Slauson project, and I happened to check some of the details of that project, and they're ideal for smaller contractors because the scope of work are things that many small contractors can do and are involved in. We're not talking in all cases about, you know, major underground infrastructure or water and sewer, but more basic general construction opportunities. There's also a tremendous amount of opportunities that Public Works is making available under its community leveling contracting program. All of these efforts are contemplating strategies to use more small local contractors in the performance of these projects, because that keeps contracting dollars local. That turns over those dollars in the LA region, and that's really a multiplicative economic impact that benefits everyone, because the more dollars stay local, the more dollars get spent local, and the cycle just repeats. So as the council member encouraged you, this is the time to get ready. There's a window of opportunity here where you want to maximize getting all the services and resources that you can. And this is a program with regards to construction that's here to help you do that. So if you can advance the slide, I will, myself and my colleague Robert Lowry will tell you a little more about the program, and I'll start with just a very brief overview of our firm, because we administer the program for the city. We're by licensed a property and casualty insurance brokerage firm, but we're really more known for programs that remove barriers for small contractors to participate in public construction. But we're very familiar with large public construction projects. We kind of have a dedicated insurance unit for construction. We've been around public construction for the entire 24-year history of our firm. And we have chosen to make our niche in our industry as insurance and bonding brokers. We've chosen to make our niche about removing barriers. Oftentimes insurance requirements and bonding requirements become an impediment for small contractor inclusion. And so we chose that we were going to kind of express ourselves in the industry in a way that still honors the necessity of risk mitigation, because that's critical in public construction. But we knew that there was a way that you can do that and enable access and opportunity. And that's what we've been doing for 24 years. Next slide. And if it's not obvious, we too are a small minority and woman-owned business enterprise. So we can relate to some of the challenges, probably many of the challenges that you encounter. So we kind of describe the program. Oh, go back to our pillars there. Maybe we're having some technical, okay. So we describe the program in terms of the 4 pillars. And that always starts with first assessing you on an individual basis. Every contractor and where they're at in the life cycle of their business is unique. There is no one service fits all. So when you enroll in the contractor development and bonding program, that is always the starting point. As we sit with you, we spend some time, we go through a process with you where we're really assessing all of the key factors of your business that speak to your capacity or speak to where you have opportunities to improve your positioning. So that's where we start. Then we identify from that process a work plan that includes the specific areas that can benefit you, and that's in agreement with you. So if you need bonding capacity, we help you with that. If you need some other areas of technical support, we will assist you with that. It's really quite comprehensive in terms of the areas of impact we can help within your business. And then you'll find, if you're not already receiving information about the vast education and training programs that we have in-depth contractor academy that's multiple weeks on things like bidding and estimating and project management. Robert's going to talk a little more about that aspect and some of the technical assistance aspects of the program, but that's also what you receive as a service when you're enrolled in the program. And then we have the Prime Partnership Program. So we know that a significant portion of the contract opportunities for small contractors in the city is going to be as subcontractors to the prime contractors who take on city contracts. So they have become important partners in the program, and they participate in a number of ways. Our training academies are generally taught by the subject matter experts at the large prime firms. And it's really a great opportunity for you to develop a closer bond and relationship with those firms, because when you're week after week for a 6 or 7 week period coming to a class with a small group, we've been doing it virtually, of course, and you're interacting with the chief estimator from Skanska or PCL, that period of time and that level of engagement really helps you build rapport, much more so than going to an event and dropping your business card in somebody's bowl. So I encourage you to be mindful of when those training academies come up. They happen multiple times a year, and really consider participating. I think you will feel like you got your money's worth, and that says something because there's no charge for it. We lost our slides here. If we can reload the slides and go to the next.
Sorry, Ingrid, we had some tech difficulties, but we'll get it back up again.
Okay, no problem. I can probably go by memory, so I'll just keep rolling. Oh, there we go. Thank you. All right, you can go to the next slide. Thank you. So here's really some of the key things that you can receive as services from the program. And if it wasn't clear before, as I said, none of this is at cost to you. This is the investment people like Councilmember Price have ensured the city makes to make these kind of resources available so that we can address these barriers that may have precluded you from successfully participating in the past. So we can help you obtain or increase your bonding capacity, and that includes actually being able to provide city-backed collateral that sometimes makes the difference between you qualifying for a bond or not. And so if you're looking to bid on a city project and it has a bond requirement and you can't quite meet the requirements, we've got financial resources that the city backs that we can put forward that helps you to qualify. So again, when I talk about a substantive program and the city kind of putting its money where its mouth is, I mean that. That's $250,000 of collateral support for a contractor bidding on a city contract. Robert will talk more about the contractor development and capacity building. When you enroll in the program, you are given a dedicated account manager. There is an individual who is then responsible for you. And they develop a relationship with you. They start with that assessment. You work together as a team to identify all the opportunities that we can improve the positioning of your business. And then they also act as like a business development representative for you, because they are tasked with looking for potential bidding or contracting opportunities that would be appropriate for you in terms of your trade and in terms of contract values or size. So you get a personal representative who then is looking out for your interest and making sure you are availing yourself of every resource the program has to offer. Some of our contractors have been with an account manager for more than a decade. So over that period of time, they really get to understand you and your business and what your goals are, and align the services that we provide you with what you're trying to achieve. The program includes things like third-party funds administration. I won't go into a lot of detail about that, but it's really the way that we're able to put up financial resources on your behalf. And we can even help you towards accessing CPA prepared financial statements. You know, financial statements are the cornerstone of bonding. They're the cornerstone of accessing capital, and they're expensive. And so the city actually provides a subsidy of up to $3,200 towards the cost of a financial statement, as well as the fact that we have CPA partners that work with us in the program that we can refer you to that specialize in construction and small contractors. And then many of you are receiving our LA Contractor Weekly, telling you about bid opportunities or other types of events that are suited or aligned with the interest of small contractors, as well as project information. So all that comes with an enrollment in the program. Next slide. So a little bit about bonding. The name of the program is the Contractor Development and Bonding Program. And so I want to make sure that we touch a little bit about bonding so that you can both have a feel for what it is, what's required, and then a little about how we help you in this area. But a bond is really a three-party agreement that is providing a guarantee from a bonding company on your behalf as the contractor that if you enter into a contract, that you will complete the contract and meet all of the terms and conditions within the contract. So the city of LA has an obligation, since they are spending taxpayer dollars, to make sure that any contractor who is hired completes the contract, performs the work, and meets all the financial obligations under the contract, paying subcontractors, paying material providers. And so a bond is very different than insurance in that you have to qualify for a bond. A bond is really more like credit because the bonding company is taking on a significant risk. When they provide a bond or agree to provide a bond for you, they're guaranteeing you're going to complete the contract. And if you fail to do so, they then have the obligation to the city to ensure that the contract is completed by what's called a replacement contractor. So when you think in terms of a bonding company and the kind of risk they're taking on when they agree to bond a contractor, then you understand why this is something you have to qualify for and why there's an underwriting process to it. The other thing to understand about bonding that's different than insurance is that a bond has an indemnification to it. The bonding company, if they pay out on your behalf, if there's a claim and they have to bring in a replacement contractor, or they have to pay a supplier, for example, who has not been paid what they were due, the bonding company expects you to indemnify them. They expect you to make them whole. So they will pursue the avenues they have available to them, which are pretty vast, to recover from a financial loss they encounter because of the bond claim. So that's very different than insurance. You all are familiar that, you know, with insurance, if you have a claim, other than your deductible, they don't come after you to recoup the money they paid out on your behalf. That's not the case with bonding. Bonding does seek to recover any financial losses, and they have a perfected right of interest to do that. So they can, you know, they can foreclose on your home. They can pursue any assets that you have to recover from a loss. Next slide, please. Excuse me. So kind of why are bonds necessary? So they're really mandated by law on public works projects. On the federal level, bonds are required for any projects over $100,000, but most states lower that threshold. On average, we see it that where they're required for contracts over $25,000. And as I said, it's critical because we're talking about taxpayer dollars, and bonds is really the form of protecting taxpayer dollars. Bonds also act as a pre-qualification, if you will, because it's understood that when a bonding company determines that you're eligible for a bond of, let's say, $1 million, that is essentially a statement of your capacity. Everyone understands that a bonding company does a 360-degree view of your business, of all facets of your business. So if they complete that and then provide you with a bonding capacity of a certain dollar amount, that's very similar to pre-qualification. So even prime contractors will ask you about your bonding capacity because it's kind of a short, abbreviated way for them to know that you've gone through this type of vetting. And I would encourage you, even if you haven't had to provide a bond in the past, or it just hasn't come up, or you're not sure if it would be required of you, it's one of those things that you want to get in place before you need it. Ideally, getting approved for a bond line of credit in advance of actually needing it puts you in the driver's seat. You have some certainty. For one thing, it will tell you, well, what project size should I be pursuing? If you get qualified for $1 million bond line of credit, then it probably would be unwise to pursue $2 million projects. And so a bond line really gives you an indication of where your capacity is based on this third-party analysis, and having it in place will help differentiate you between other contractors who don't have their bonding in place. This is really a statement of credibility about your firm when you can say that I can bond my projects up to whatever dollar amount that you can bond. Next slide, please. So here's just kind of an illustration of how we can help you establish or increase your bonding capacity. So this kind of first row of arrows here talks about kind of what the problem is. A contractor has $500,000 in available bond capacity, but there's a project opportunity that's $1 million. Without some type of intervention support, that contractor would not be able to go forward with that $1 million contract opportunity because their bonding capacity would not support it. Now, the green section here, the lower set of arrows, basically shows you, sorry, there's a little gnat bothering me here, basically shows you the difference that can be made with the support of the city's program. You take the same scenario, the contractor who only has $500,000 of bond capacity, but through the program, we can put up $250,000 of collateral with the bonding company that's backed by the City of LA. Now, this has to be for a City of LA contract, of course, but our ability of providing that level of risk mitigation to the bonding company now puts them in a position to support that $1 million bond. So in this scenario, a contractor is able to double their bonding capacity without anything changing for the contractor, but just by them being enrolled in the program and having access to these financial resources. Next slide. Just a couple of examples. The first one, the program assisted a contractor who was performing more of an IT scope of work, but a bond was still required. The project was about $5 million, and we only had to put up $250,000 of collateral for this particular firm, and that enabled them to secure the bond. And they grew their bonding capacity from 3 million to 5.7 million. I think this contract is now close to $9 million. So it's really an illustration to show you how a little bit of collateral support backed by the city can have a measurable impact in your ability to qualify for a larger bond. And then the next example is a much smaller contract. We put up $9,300 in collateral that helped a contractor secure a $23,000 bond. So there really is no size limit in terms of how the program can assist you. There's nothing too small. And so far we've gone up to $9 million in bonding for a contract. So you'd be surprised at how much we can do with so little. Next slide. So at this juncture, I am going to turn it over to my colleague, Robert Lowery, to talk more about the technical assistance that's provided for within the program. Robert?
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. So I'm going to go over our technical assistant part of the contract development. So when contractors are interested in the program, they get enrolled into the program, and they, like Ingrid said, get assigned to a account manager. So once you're assigned to account manager, the account manager will then work with the contractor and develop an assessment and work plan. Some of the items that are in the work plan consist of, your certifications. What are some of your goals that you want to do with the company? And it's kind of like a map. And once you have your work plan in place, then the account manager from time to time will check in to see how you're doing, see if there's any other types of technical assistance that is needed. Also, you will receive a contractor profile, which is like your statement of qualification. It's a two-sided thing. It's great for marketing. It's really a snapshot of your company that you can use when you're soliciting, other contracts. Like I said, they will also work with you on your certifications, so that way you can stand out and get more opportunities because you have your SBE, DVBE, those kind of certifications. Not only do we do that, we also do the capacity building, where we help you with the back of the house to help you grow your business. So over time, you can go after larger projects and be able to have multiple projects going on, like work in process. So that's part of the capacity building. Another feature that we do with technical assistance is when you have an opportunity and you want to submit a bid on it, you put the packet together, and then we will sit down with you and go through the bid documents to review for accuracy, because as you all know, that is the low bid and the most responsive. So if there's items that's missed on the forms, then you're probably disqualified. So we go through the documents with you to help, but we do not work with your numbers because that is on you. So we might be able to suggest, ask questions. Did you include your supervision for 100% for X amount of weeks in your general conditions? But that's what the bid document review is. So it helps, it gives you a better chance of being the most responsive, successful bidder on that. Once you're then awarded the project, and then that's where the contract monitoring comes into place, where we have a kickoff meeting with the project team, and with me being the field support project manager, this is when I really step in to help mitigate any barriers or help with risks. So the contract monitoring is where when before COVID, would go out to the field and do field visits and work with the field teams to see with any kind of barriers they need help with, so that way they can successfully complete the project and the collateral gets returned back to the pool and the bonds are released without any claims. We also do monthly workshops and coaching. We also will do construction training. We have throughout the year, we have these academies. We just completed the city's bidding estimating 6-week course. So our next one for the city of contract award and management is 6 weeks, and that is in September is when that is slated to start. So as you can see, you get a lot of attention once you enroll into the program, and like I said, your account manager is dedicated to you 100% of the time. So whenever you have a question, you go directly to the account manager, and then he or she will then point you in the right direction going forward. Right, next slide, please. So like I had mentioned about the bid document review, so what we will do, there's a little disclaimer that is in there. So we would attend the pre-bid, so that way we have a better understanding of what the opportunity is about. And then then I would review the plans and specs so we understand exactly what the scope is, because you don't want to have any scope gaps, and you really need to understand what your scope is, duration. So we identify any risks. We assist with identifying any risks with the project, so that way you're going into the project, with all cards on the table, so you know exactly what's going on. And then we also assist with identifying the required bid documents. And that's what I was saying, because each agency or department has certain documents that they're required to fill out if it's a federal, state, local funding. So there's different documents that's required. We want to assist you with the documents there. And then also we will, any additional meetings prior to the submission, we will sit down with you to make sure everything is complete. Then after the bidding process is over, we will then also schedule a meeting to do lessons learned, and then coach you with, going back to the owner or the GC and request, some feedback if you were not a successful bidder, because this helps you for future bidding opportunities of learn from your mistakes so you can improve going forward. Next slide, please. So like I said, with the contract monitoring, we will review with the contractor. We have, like I said, a kickoff meeting with all parties. If you're a subcontractor, we will have the GC president, funds control. So when we roll out the process, everybody hears the process, what forms needs to be filled out. Like I said, we do the monthly site visits if applicable. Sometimes we're not allowed, like with LAWA. If it's on the land side, I'm allowed to go, but if it's on the air side, it's kind of difficult to get access, and we have to be escorted. We also do status reports. Those reports allow me to see at a snapshot the progress from month to month, what is going on with the project, like what's percent complete. If you run into any barriers, you can write that on the report. Any open change orders. Then we can compare that with the contract status. If the GC or the owner fills out one, compare to see if both are in line. And then we take the funds control report and add that in there just to make sure that the being paid timely fashion. Then we also will look at the construction schedule to make sure that you're still on schedule, that you're not on a critical path. And if you have any delays, let's work with the team so we get back on track, because that delays equals liquidated damages, and we don't want that. So that's how we kind of mitigate all this. Cost management, we let's say with change orders, review those and make sure that you put the packet together properly, because as we all know, change orders can be a challenge sometimes. So making sure you have your supporting documents, You have, it tells a story and put it together. And then also you have a change order log so that you can track your change orders. And then the one key thing is start getting into the routine of reconciling change orders on a monthly basis so you don't have a lot of outstanding change orders at the end of the job. Then we also will help out with the closeouts to coach you through that successfully with as-built, final billing, etc. So when it's time, you've been paid your retention, then the collateral gets released and your bond gets released, so that way you can bid on other jobs. Next slide, please. So here, so some of the monitoring tools that I use when I go out to the job is a project detail report. And there's going to be an example of shows what this report looks like. So it's a form that I have on my iPad. So in other words, we go on paperless, which is great. We fill it out as we are meeting on site. You get some of the basic information about the project. It's like the start date, the tentative end date, number of weeks, the contract value, open change orders, and all this is documented here. And then if you keep rolling down to the next page there. So some of the topics that we put on this is your contract documents, and then what kind of discussions that we have, scope of work. We do this monthly, so at the baseline, you understand exactly what the scope is. I understand exactly. So when I follow up, there is consistency, schedule, understanding what the baseline your schedule is, making sure that you also receive 3-week look-ahead schedules, so that way that the owners or the GCs, you guys are meeting constantly and you're all on the same page, because the schedule dictates when your schedule values go in, and then the cost, to make sure that you're going to be completing this job, successfully with a profit without losing profit. We also touch base on safety. QA, QC is another topic. And then we just, in general, any potential exposures, if any, that you see on the job that we can talk about. And then miscellaneous, like certified payroll, that you're submitting that on weeklies, because we don't want any fines with certified payroll. So, and then we also have some action items and who is the responsible person and due date, so we can follow up, keep people accountable for it as well. So that helps you manage your project in the field and also build your capacity of back of the house. Okay, let's keep moving. I had briefly talked about the contract and principal status reports. So this is an example of what the actual one of the reports look like. And it's a PDF fillable field. And as you see, the red fields are mandatory. So that way, when you get it, you fill it out. You can't save it unless those are in there, which is a great tool, because this is how I look at the percentage complete, your open change orders, amount billed to date, if you invoice for the pay period, all that is at the top, so it gives me a snapshot. Then the next section 1 is talking about, your labor, is the work progressing satisfactory? You say yes or no, so there's some drop downs you fill out. And if no, you can go to the end of this form and give the reason why, so that way I can then follow up, so I can have I'm prepped in advance instead of like, so why are you, not progressing satisfactory? And then at the end, the section, if you can scroll down. So once the job is all finished, we go to the section 2 and fill this out. And this is kind of like, okay, the job is complete. Then we can start our NOC and start working on the final billing. So it's a great tool. Also the prime will do this, and a subcontractor. So, and like I said, it's all fillable, so you don't have to email, you don't have to mail it in, just fill it out, save it. So each month when you get the notification, update it and email it back to me. Okay. Thank you, Wendy. Like I said, we also receive the funds control report so that we monitor funding, make sure that it's coming in and going out. I'll also work on job cost reports. And now we have a poll question.
Thank you, Robert. We'll go ahead and pull up the poll question now. And it should be launching. Okay, so the polling question, would you like to enroll in the program in order to receive or learn more about free technical assistance and resources provided by the Contractor Development and Bonding Program? So we'll give everyone about 15-20 seconds to go ahead and get that completed. Okay, and we'll be ending the polling question now. Perfect. Thank you, Robert.
You're welcome. So in closing, there's a lot more technical assistance that we do provide, and also to remember that this is a free service to the contractors that are enrolled into the program. So feel free to reach out to us and get an enrollment form so we can assist you with your capacity building of your company. Thank you so much.
Ingrid, we'll turn it back to you now.
Okay, thank you. And I know we're running a little bit behind, but I think we'll still be on time here because we're wrapping up when our presenters from the city who are going to talk about contract opportunities, which I know is key to your interest today. So we're going to start with our friend Jesus, who will talk to you about project awards and control division. He's with the Bureau of Engineering and Public Works. Jesus?
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Jesus Fontamillas. I'm with Bureau of Engineering. Bureau of Engineering consists of other departments like street lighting, Bureau of Construction Administration, sanitation, and there's another one I'm missing. But anyway, for Bureau of Engineering, currently we have 748 projects all the way from pre-design to construction. And also currently we have just awarded 75 million projects awarded in this current fiscal year. Because of COVID, it slowed down considerably during the past year, but I assure you it's going to be picking up a lot. So that's the exciting portion. Next slide. Okay, what are the types of projects we do? Sewers, storm drains, next slide. Streets, sidewalks, municipal facilities like rec and parks and fire facilities. We do police facilities, and of course we do bridges. We have a lot of sewer projects coming up pretty soon, and also a lot of street projects. And as the next slide shows, in order to participate, you have to register on BAVN. Most importantly, BAVN. What's also important is to get certified as an NBE, WBE, SBE, DVBE, and also make sure that you have the correct classification of your business, the NAISC code. Next slide, please. Okay, so where do we find all the projects? Well, if you go on eng.lacd.org, click on the contractors button and you will see this page. If you click there's a circle there called with the anticipated construction project bid. Yes, so you can click on that to see all the projects that are coming up within the next year. And if you could look down at the bottom of the page, there is a current projects out to bid, and you can see that, and you can view, what's out to bid, and you can click on it to see who has downloaded the project files, project documents, and so you can network there, talk about what you can contribute to that project, and hook up with the prime contractors. Next slide, please. And so this is what it looks like, list of anticipated projects to bid. As you can see, bridge and streets, wastewater facilities that are, going to be coming out soon. Again, the lowest responsible bidder will win the project. Usually we have a mandatory subcontracting minimum of 25%. And it depends on the project. If it's more highly skilled or niche type of projects like an HVAC, obviously it will go down. Local business preference. So if you're a local business, you get a credit of up to 8% for local businesses. So if the prime contractor put in a bid of $1 million, you get credit of 8%. So that means you have $900. Your bid is actually, we look at it as $920,000. I also must say that federally funded projects, the prime must be registered with SAM.gov, and I recommend to go on all the pre-bid meetings. At pre-bid meetings, you can network there with all the other prime contractors, and also it gives you the credit for the NASCA codes that are supposed to be utilized for this project. Next slide, please. Okay, so these are some of the projects that are coming up, and these are huge, big projects. It's not as big as LADWP or LAWA, the World Airports, but we have some fun projects to do. We have this a slope stabilization. It's an $18 million project, and it is in Council District 11. Okay, and let me make sure. Yes, Council District 11. Okay, and then next slide, please. These are the subcontracting opportunities that you can participate in. Grading, soil anchors, landscaping, excavation hallways, pile installation for the bridges. They'll need piles. Traffic control and some electrical work. Next slide, please. Here's another project coming up. It's close to $14 million. Street reconstruction on Avalon Boulevard between San Pedro and 120th. Next slide, please. The opportunities to subcontract are shown over here. Road striping, railroad, traffic control, traffic signage, excavation, and haulaway. Next slide, please. Here's another project. This one's on Council District 9, $2.4 million. And this is reconstructing the median island. And it shows right here in this map. Next slide, please. So here is a list of some subcontracting opportunities for that project. And so as you can see, we have a lot of opportunities to subcontract and a lot of projects coming up soon. I know because I process all the board reports. A lot of them are coming, so you need to get ready and for these projects. Next slide, please. And so that concludes my presentation. Again, my name is Jesus Fontanillas. This is my contact. I am not at the office, so please don't use the phone number shown here. You can reach me on my email. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jesus. We appreciate that. I want to make a quick note about Public Works too. We don't have it on the agenda today, but Public Works has been really aggressive about opportunities for small contractors. They have the community leveling contracting program, which they're identifying opportunities of essentially unbundling work to break them down into small prime contract opportunities like sidewalk repair, and I know there are others, street lighting that they're looking at. But these are opportunities where if you go through the process and submit a statement of qualifications and make it onto a list, some of these are at say $100,000, then they just award contracts on a rotational basis based on the contractors on the list. And these are really being identified specifically for small contractors. So that's something very creative and aggressive that Public Works is doing to ensure there are as many direct small prime contracting opportunities with the city of LA. So I just wanted to make that note. And then we're going to move on to the proprietary departments, starting with LA DWP and Jason Kim.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Jason Kim. I'm from the Office of Small Business and Supplier Relations at LA Department of Water and Power, and I'm here to talk to you today about doing business with LA DWP and some of the things you should be aware of if you're interested in doing business with LA DWP. Just real quick about LA DWP, we are the largest municipal water and power utility in the nation. We serve 4 million residents and businesses in Los Angeles. We last year awarded $1.2 billion in contracts for goods and services. Next slide, please. I'm just going to quickly talk about the two main methods in which we do purchasing here at LA DWP. They're both through a competitive bidding process, and they are IFBs, otherwise known as invitation for bid, and RFPs, which are requests for proposals. And I'll explain a little more about these in the next slide. IFBs are typically used for construction projects, materials, equipment, rentals, and non-professional services. They're sometimes referred to as low bid, but in the past also as sealed bid. For this type of purchasing, no exceptions are allowed. Bids must conform to all terms, conditions, and specifications of the IFB, and they are awarded to the lowest priced, responsive, and responsible bidder. Next slide, please. RFPs, they're typically used for professional, expert, technical, or other complex services, including design, build, construction. RFPs have a predetermined evaluation criteria such as technical management and past experience, as well as a cost factor. Unlike the IFBs, RFPs, the exceptions may be allowed and negotiations may take place, and they are awarded to the highest scoring proposer based on stated selection and evaluation criteria. Next slide, please. So this is how you can participate. As we mentioned before, register on LA Babin. Here you can view other contracting opportunities. Make sure you create a user profile, and you can be notified of new postings. And you can also look at the documents associated with these posted opportunities. You can also look at past awards to gauge if you are in competitive range. You could also look at the types of things we buy or the types of things we contract out and when contracts will expire. So it's very helpful. So please, and it's required. So please sign up for LA Babin. Next slide, please. And just real quick, I'm going to talk to you about some programs you should be aware of if you're interested in working with LADWP. And this is the Small Business Enterprise Disabled Veterans Business Enterprise Participation Program. It applies to most contracts over $150,000 for services, construction, and rentals with operators. The program is a contract-specific mandatory participation requirement and set as a percentage of the contract. So as a prime, you're required to meet this percentage of subcontracting for a contract if over $150,000. Bidders who do not meet the minimum mandatory SBE DVBE participation requirement will be deemed non-responsive. And just overall, LADWP's overall annual goal is 25% for SBE participation and 3% for DVBE participation. Some other programs to talk about here, we have the Local Business Preference Program, the LBPP. It was mentioned before, but you actually get up to an 8% preference for eligible certified local businesses for contracts up to contracts over $150,000 with a cap of $1 million. And we also recognize the Small Local Business Program, the SLBP, which will give you a 10% preference for eligible certified small local business enterprises for contracts under $100,000. So if you are eligible, I strongly encourage you to register and certify yourself under these. Next slide. If you're looking to do business with LADWP, I would say this is probably your best bet to see what kind of projects are coming up. This is Supply Line. This is a newsletter, Supply Chain Services at LADWP publishes quarterly. It basically gives you an 18-month look ahead at the upcoming contracts at LADWP. It gives you general information about when the contract will be advertised, a brief description of the kind of work, and so on and so forth. These are target dates, so what you want to do is, look at the newsletter and check LA Babin right around those dates for those projects to pop up. I'll include the link in the chat if you're interested. Next slide, please. And just some little things here as I close. Get your business ready. Again, register your business on LA Babin. Have all license requirements. If you are a small business, disabled veterans business, or if you qualify for any other certifications, please make sure you sign up for those, and please make sure those aren't expired if you have signed up for those. It also must be a certification recognized by LADWP. When you get your IFB or RFP documents, you'll find a list of certifications that are recognized by LADWP. And make sure you also sign up for your LA Business Tax Registration Certificate. I believe every business or person who is engaged in business is required to have one, or you need an exception, and you can obtain that through the Office of Finance at finance.lacity.org. Next slide, please. And just some hits and tips. Obviously, just perform due diligence and be prepared when trying to bid. Also understand the statement of work or specifications and the requirements of the contract. I strongly encourage you to also attend the pre-bid and proposal meetings, network with the prime contractors, remain visible, be responsive and responsible when you are filling out these bids, and do not give up. And finally, if you have any questions, next slide, please. You can contact us at Supplier Relations Office at LADWP or purchabids@ladwp.com. Yeah, that'd be it for me. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. We appreciate that. And we'll, we have a poll question again. Sorry about that. Go ahead, Wendy.
Thank you, Ingrid. I'll bring up the polling question now. really quickly. Oh, okay. So these are just what subjects related to technical assistance would be beneficial for us to cover in future workshops. And this is just to receive the participants' feedback on how we can create more of these educational webinars for you. So we'll give everyone about 15 seconds to go ahead and get that completed. Okay, we'll go ahead and start closing this poll question now. Thank you. Perfect. Thank you, Ingrid.
Yep, thank you. And just before we move on to our next presenter from LAWA, I just wanted to mention, if you're monitoring like the Q&A and the chat, we are doing our best to answer as many questions as we can during the webinar. I see a number of folks have asked about the slide deck being made available. The answer is yes. The slide deck will be made available, and I believe the recording will also be made available. So I saw a number of people asking about that because there's a lot of content here. So I just wanted to chime in on that. And with that, we're going to turn the microphone over to one of our like-mind partners, as we like to say. Chamberlain Duru will talk to you all about opportunities at LAWA.
Thank you so much, Ingrid. Definitely appreciate you and your team for putting this forum together. Also, big thanks to Councilman Price for all his work that he's doing in this space. So thanks to you all for being here as well. Let's go ahead and jump into this. So yes, my name is Chamberlain Deru, Business Affairs Lead for LA World Airports. Here's some background on who we are as an airport. So currently, we rank 15th in the world for passenger service. So we're steadily kind of moving up those ranks. As you know, COVID-19 definitely had a strong impact, negative impact on air travel throughout the world. So as you can see, in 2020, we served 28,700,000 plus passengers. But from 2019, it was 88 million passengers. So you saw as a big dip in our overall guest traffic over the last year. But good news is we're kind of steadily seeing positive trends in overall traffic in the airport. So people are being to flying again, vaccinations are up, and people are feeling confident being around one another. So starting to see strong gains back in our overall flight traffic going forward. So very happy about that. We also run Van Nuys Airport, one of the busiest general aviation airports that you probably didn't know about. And also we have property up in LA Palmdale. Used to be an airport. So it's a little bit of background about who we are as Los Angeles World Airports. Next slide. And keep clicking. This is one of those pop-up slides here. So keep clicking along there. Thank you. So LAWA procures over $500 million annually in RFB. So these are our basic needs that we have to run the airport on a day-to-day basis. And we have also administered and are currently administering about $14 billion roughly in our capital projects for construction services and professional services. Next slide. So I want to start off real quick about, certifications. I know we've kind of touched on that a little bit today, but just wanted to just really hone in on the certifications that we look at here at the airport. So obviously we have, our local certifications with SBEs and LVEs, LSBEs, and then we also have our federal programs, which are DVBEs and ACDVEs. If you're not familiar with ACDVE, these are certifications that we give preference to if you're looking to do business in our airports. And obviously we have our disabled veteran business enterprises as well. So these are our core certifications that we use here at the airport. Next slide. More information about who on our team that actually handles these certifications. So these are our key personnel that will answer all of your questions regarding certifications and give you some of the background on what they look for in certain certs. So as you receive this presentation in your inboxes, please, if you have any questions regarding certifications directly, please feel free to reach out to one of these individuals here. They'd be happy to help you answer your questions. Next slide. As you've heard before in this presentation, we upload all of our direct opportunities on LA Babin. So if you are unfamiliar with this platform, I highly encourage you to get familiar with the platform. As a heads up, it is kind of going through a facelift process. So as you kind of navigate the process, if you see things that are changing from when you last looked at it, it is a step in the right direction. We've had this platform for a long time now, and we're starting to kind of really put some investments in it to make sure that it is competitive, it's able to be, functioning for today and procurements of tomorrow. So it is going through an upgrade, and will be over the next couple of months. In the meantime, please learn how to navigate this platform, upload your profiles. If you do currently have a profile on there, make sure it's up to date, as well as all your certifications and information. As things change, we want to make sure we can update you for upcoming opportunities. Next slide. So this is a bit about who we are with our division. Our division is business, job, and social responsibility. Here are our core things to be kind of focused on. Obviously, business navigation and support. Business inclusion on all contract requirements. So pretty much every RFP that comes out of LAWA is likely going to have a 10% inclusivity goal to hit. So we want to make sure that we all are on the same page with making sure the language of all of our contracts are incorporating small business moving forward. Always want to make sure we are investing in contractor development. As you've heard with our partners, we are heavily invested in Maryland Williams and our bonding assistance program, as well as our contracting finance and assistance program. Something that we're very excited about over here at LAWA as a way for us to kind of address one of the largest gaps that we've always seen in contracting. That's the ability for contractors to get financing to bid for these projects. So we're very excited about that, and more information will be coming about that in the very, very near future. Workforce is always going to be a big part of who we are, making sure that we have the pipelines we are employing in local communities. Obviously, diversity, equity, and inclusion will always be baked into what we do here at the airport. So it's something that we talk about on a regular basis. How can we create pathways for those that will not have them in other areas? And obviously targeted outreach and engagement for key RFPs and opportunities that kind of come out of LAWA. So that is our general email. So as you have questions regarding any policy information, upcoming opportunities, just want to get to know what's going on with LAWA, feel free to email us at that general email, and someone from our team will get back to you very, very soon. Next slide. So a lot of you have heard about our capital program. It's a $14+ billion program. It's just kind of an itemized view on kind of how we are spending this money. So we have our major tenant projects, obviously, with our airports and our airlines, our LAMP projects, which if you've been in the airport region recently, you've kind of seen a lot of the construction is happening over there. A lot of it facilitated by our APM, automated people mover, as well as our consolidated rent-a-car facility. Two major projects are kind of really driving our capital project plan overall. We have a terminal project, which are pretty much a facelift of a lot of our terminals, Southwest and United primarily. United environmental projects are always going to be an ongoing need for us over here. Airside project, which are runways primarily, security and IT, landside projects, and then stuff our EIRs and planning and study projects. So, we're always going to be procuring out a lot of stuff between now and really kind of going towards the Olympics, as the councilman was talking about earlier. So it's a quick snapshot. It's just no way at the end of it all. We have more things kind of coming down the pike, but at least you can kind of get an idea of how the money is being spent overall regarding our capital projects. Next slide. Okay, so just a quick snapshot. I want to give you an example here of why certifications are so important, and also how you approach LAWA or LAX overall for opportunity. So on the left-hand side of the screen, it kind of breaks down into 3 different projects, APM, Contract, and ITF West project. And then of each project, they each have different phases. Design, build, and O&M means operation and maintenance. And each one of those phases has a certain certification goal they have to achieve. So this is why we talk about certification so much on the government side, on the city side, because these firms, these joint venture partners, they have to really achieve these goals per phase, per project. If they don't, then they got to face a penalty from the owner, which is us. So as you're kind of learning how to approach LAWA or LEX overall for opportunity, just make sure that that you understand exactly what the certification requirements are. Are you a certified firm? And then pretty much kind of work it from there. But we do want to make sure you guys understand and offer this visual to really see how certifications play a role in how a lot of these firms outreach and how they engage the local business community. On the right-hand side of the screen are our other projects, airline projects primarily. Each airline really has a prime contractor that kind of runs their overall projects. They also have certification goals as well, but I just wanted to make one quick point. We've been talking today a lot about city opportunities, but it's no way in comparison to opportunities that come from the prime contractor directly. So a lot of these primes directly have their own outreaches. They have their own things that they do to kind of attract contractors to their particular projects. So as you approach LAWA, let us help you determine where is the best way to kind of find opportunity. Is it through the city directly, or is it through one of our prime contracting partners? Next slide. As we wrap up here, we also want to give some advice to you guys as you're kind of hunting for business here at the airport or any other major agency I think this would apply to. First, know your agency. What we do here at LAWA may be different than what is done at the port or what's done at Metro or other major procuring agencies. So understand kind of what happens here, how we handle certifications, how we procure certain projects. Obviously, develop a rapport with staff here, myself primarily, or anybody else at LAWA that can kind of help direct you to right opportunity that fits your business. Obviously, attend workshops on a regular basis. LAWA has our own workshop that we do every first Wednesday of the month. We call it Doing Business with LAWA. So definitely go to our website, lawa.org, to find more information about that. I've started talking about becoming and staying certified. Always be building your capacity, which is what you're doing right now. Understand that your capacity is going to really take you far in understanding how to navigate these city processes. It's a lot of information, a lot of things you have to learn how to do before you even really get to the opportunity itself directly. So we want to make sure all of you are prepared for what you're walking into. Networking will always be a key discipline no matter what you do. Understanding the design, the procurement and bid packages, and how they impact your business, making sure that you are planning for the gap, making sure that you are financially prepared for going into major contract work. And then obviously we want you guys to all be successful in making money. So when you bid to make a profit. Next slide. And finally, here's my direct email address. If you have any questions, if I did not answer your question today, feel free to email me directly. I'll be more than happy to have a conversation with you and kind of help navigate you however I can. Once again, thank you, Ingrid, and your team for putting this together. And see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you, Chamberlain. We always appreciate that. And with the last presentation we have from a proprietary, we want to welcome Ed from the Port of Los Angeles.
Hello, Ed Hahn, civil engineer with the Port of Los Angeles. Thank you for having me. I'm here to share the Port's upcoming projects. On the screen, we have a one-year look ahead of our capital improvement projects. So the Port of LA, we're committed to creating opportunities for small business and very small business enterprises, as well as local and regional businesses. As was mentioned earlier, if you're an SBE or VSB, and interested in performing work with the City of LA, you'll need to register through LA Babin. The Port encourages SBE and VSBE participation by including SBE VSB percentage goals as part of our construction contracts. The Port has an annual 25% SBE participation goal, of which 5% is VSBE participation. So being at the Port, we do have a lot of marine related work, but we also have non-marine related work. And so if you take a look at this look ahead, projects that are highlighted are projects that we are planning to put through the bid and award process. And so if you are interested in looking for upcoming opportunities, you'll need to visit the Port's website and go to our construction division business opportunity network. We process our bids through a software called Planet Bids. And when you access Planet Bids, you'll see all upcoming projects, and you'll also be able to see which contractors are actively looking through these particular contracts. We actually recently have awarded a few contracts, a rail project, the Alameda Gap closure, which was awarded at about 12 million, and a MOTEMS project, which was awarded for about 20 million. So the Port's doing a lot of work right now. So definitely, if you have an opportunity or have interest in doing work with the Port, visit that website.
Okay, are you all done, Ed?
I'm all done.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. So we are nearing the end of the workshop. I think we have one more poll question. Wendy, you want to do that now, or do you want me to kind of do some closing remarks and then you do the poll?
I can launch the poll now, Ingrid. It'll take 30 seconds.
Okay, why don't you do that?
Okay, so our polling question has launched, and we just wanted to get our participants' feedback on was this workshop helpful, yes or no? Or if you wanted to get more additional information, we do have one of our account managers participating. Her name is Michelle, and she's been answering some of your questions in the chat as well as the Q&A. So we can definitely reach out if you would like more additional information on the program. So we'll give it about 10 seconds more. Okay, and we are closing the polling question.
Great.
Thank you, Ingrid.
Thanks, Wendy. So I'm sure that this seems kind of overwhelming in terms of listening to all the, not just the opportunities, but the requirements that are attached to doing business with the city. And you know, it's made more complex in that each department does things a bit differently. The city of LA is a big entity. The proprietaries are entities among themselves. They have different funding sources, and those funding sources come with different contract requirements. So it can feel very overwhelming. And that's another reason why the city implemented the Contractor Development and Bonding Program, is to really assist you with navigating throughout this process. So enrolling in the program, being assigned to an account manager, all that you heard today is really part of the knowledge base that our team members have. We've been working with these departments for 14 years. So if it's a question about what certification is required, or where do you get certified, or how do you find out about opportunities with any particular city department, or where should you start the process, where are there going to be the most accessible opportunities for you to maybe bid as a prime to the city, all that and all the other technical assistance and resources that are available through the program are there for you at no cost if you enroll. So I want to encourage you to consider enrolling. We will be sending out the deck of information. Contact information will be there. And I want to thank you again for your patience and participation today, and all of our city sponsors and presenters. We couldn't be here doing what we do without the city investing in this program. So thank you all for your participation, and just be on the lookout. We have things very with a high level of frequency. So watch your inbox for what's coming up next. Thank you, everyone, and have a great evening.